Day 2 of our February kindling from our big day of breeding in January. Let's see how everyone fared overnight and see how Rose and Holly did. So this is actually next day, and I've come out to check on Rose and Holly because they were the two does that had not kindled yesterday. I had been in here a lot yesterday, checking especially on Rose because she had had those issues at Christmas time. So we can see she made that nest outside the box, and this is clearly not ideal. I will deal with this later. I'm going to try and move them into the box. But this is why I packed this cage with hay, because I had a feeling that that was going to happen, because I kept seeing her with hay in her mouth but not packing it in the box. And actually, when I very first put the box in, it was shavings and hay in the box, and I did not put any out in the cage purposely because I wanted to kind of make her go in there, but that wasn't happening. And I just made the judgment call to pack this cage with hay because, more importantly, I wanted good, live, healthy kits. Now, the good news is she did make herself a burrow and a nest, and I've put my hand in there, and they are on soft hay, and she's really pulled some great fur. So I've actually just gotten out of bed. You're not going to see me on the camera right now because I'm actually in my pajamas. My barn's attached to the house, so I'm able to just walk out here in my pajamas when I need to check them like this at odd times. So yeah, I'm gonna, go in, get a coffee, get dressed, leave her for a little bit. I do think the nest is just as warm as it would be in the box. It's just, this isn't gonna be a situation long term that's really great. I'm gonna start thinking about something else to do, whether we make the same boxes, like hand make them but make them larger, or if we do something a little different, like what the Wraps suggest in their book, where they modified Tupperware totes. I have a little bit of misgivings about that, and if anyone's ever done theirs, happen to have read that book and done something similar to theirs, I'd love to hear it. I'm a little concerned about how warm those would be in the summer, but not too concerned. I trust that they know what they're doing, but I'm really happy to see that Rose seems to be figuring it out, other than the nest box, which is not a situation that's unique to her. I've had other does that are hesitant to use the nest box. This round, I think she's the only one who didn't deliver in the nest box, and then Aster, of course, had the issue where she delivered in it, but it was to the front. Now, Aster's, I had to go back and forth with those kits all day yesterday, and it turned out Tippy, and she usually throws big litters, she only threw 3, so I may need to look at her from an age standpoint, maybe breed her one more time, and see if those numbers come back, if it was a fluke or what. But she only had 3 in there, and I had checked Aster's several times during the day, and they just continued to drop cool, and I don't think there was enough body heat in there. I had shelled them in the house a couple of times, but that's not going to really work out. So I ended up in the evening putting those 3 in with Tippy's 3, so there'd be more body heat, and she is a good mother. So that was the situation with hers, and Aster is definitely on the cull list. Peony seems to be doing well. There were a couple of loops in that litter. I haven't counted to see how many were in there, because there was just enough going on. I was just checking for live kits. And then Holly, in true Holly fashion, has made a nice nest. Big pile of fur in there. Kits under there. Again, I'll check them a little later and come out, get everyone fed, situated, and everything. But I'm happy to see this much progress with Rose. That's positive and hopeful for me. So I have moved Rose's litter into their nest box. When I got into that nest, everything looked great. She's got a ton of fur in there, which is really nice because things did not go well in December. Very little fur was pulled. She had that one that she ate, and I believe it was probably actually early, but
you know, looked great. The nest was nice and warm in there. It was just outside the box. So again, I'm gonna have to revisit the nest box situation, whether we build our own and build them larger, or I go with a different style. But that's something I'm gonna evaluate and address. But 4 good size, healthy, wriggling babies, looked well fed and cared for. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye now and make sure that she gets in there and feeds them, because they're not where she left them. But I think she's gonna be fine taking that on. So I'm really happy to see Rose kind of stepping up to the plate. She is my favorite rabbit, so I really would have hated it if she didn't. And obviously the future will tell too. So that's it with Rose. I stuck my hand in with Holly. Her nest looks great. Holly's an old pro. I never have problems with Holly. I did not do a count in hers. I just put my hand in to make sure that we were warm and wriggling in there, and we are. Peony, I will give another check. I had checked her last night. Everything seemed fine. I just didn't want to keep disturbing her because I had checked so many times yesterday. And the next one that I need to do a good check on is Tippy, because I had put those 3 from Astor's litter that were not staying warm enough on their own. I put them in with the 3 that Tippy had for extra body heat, but I want to get in there, make sure that we have warm live kits, get anything out if anything did die. I will not be surprised if something from Astor's didn't make it, because they were so up and down maintaining body heat yesterday. So I want to get in there, do a check, see what that looks like. So that's our situation on the breeding now. I'm gonna go on and finish my breeding and checks and see where we're at. And these are the 5 wrigglers from Peony. She's not real happy with me taking them away, so just wanted to do a check. They look good. Nice fat bellies, nice and warm in there. So really, this makes me happy. Did have a couple of losses that I think were losses when they were born. Nothing that I'm gonna fault her for or anything. So for basically her second litter and Rose's kind of 1.2 litter, happy with the champagnes. Gonna give these back, do a check on the other box, and go on from there. So this is Tippy's litter, and I'm not going to show you, but I did go through here, and the 3 that came from Astor, they're gone. They're dead. They're in here cold. Her 3, a little small actually, but they look good. They're warm. They're thriving. So this was a series of unfortunate events with Astor's kit, and you know, it just puts the writing on the wall with Astor. Glad to see that Tippy's 3 are doing well, and that's that. So that was everybody from the breeding a month ago in January. We're at the beginning of February. Probably come back at some point, do some final counts, see where we're at, and again, we'll go from there. So Rosie here, I've just come out to feed. This is the next day after her kindling and after I moved that nest of kits into the nest box. So she's obviously been in there. You can see she's kind of pulled some stuff out and made a mess. There's some fur around, some hay that was in the box. So I was a little nervous when I came out because I could see that the back of the box was empty, but what it really was she kind of nudged them to the front, or they made their way to the front. I suspect she did because the fur was actually moved and pulled up. I moved them back just a hair, like not all the way to the back. Again, I'm starting to really feel strongly that the box is an issue, not big enough to be comfortable for some of these larger does. So, you know, we've already been talking about making bigger boxes or using a different design or something. But, you know, they're still in there. They're warm. They're thriving. She's taking care of them. And that's awesome, because I was concerned, especially where this is her first actually successful litter. I was concerned that she wouldn't get in there and find them and take care of them, but she does seem to be doing that. So I'll just keep a few checks on. And if she really insists on them being in the front of the box, I don't love it because I don't want them making their way out. But, you know, if that's what she needs and that's what gets them through, I'll just have to keep some checks, and if she really insists on that, then I guess that's the way it's going to be. But, you know, like I said, nudged them back a little bit. We'll see. Other than that, she's taking good care of them, and they look good. I'm going to go feed everybody this morning and check on these other does and their litters and see where we're at. This is Holly's litter. Just doing that quick check and count. You can see they're really active and thriving. Nice, well-fed kits. She's always a great mom. That's Holly. There's only 3, and Holly has always had big litters. So this is just confirming to me that her time's done. She's an older doe. You know, she's given me plenty, and she's been a great doe. She's going on like 5 years old, I think. And I don't have any complaints with her. This is just part of that management decision, feeds into those New Year's resolution goal type things that I talked about, where, you know, I wanted to pare down some of the does anyway, and I was using this breeding to help me make some of those decisions, say like this and the next one. But some things are becoming clear with this breeding, and I think it is that Holly, I appreciate everything she's given to me, but it is time to let her retire. Not sure what that will look like. It'll probably look like me being too sentimental and letting her live out her days here in a cage, and decreasing my profit margin, so to speak. I'm okay with that. We'll see, you know. We'll just see how that goes. The champagnes, pretty happy with how they're coming along given this feeding, so I'm feeling better about that. So we've got Peony has 5 live kits and Rose has 4. Champagnes tend to be a little smaller, on the smaller side with their litters anyway, and these are also young does, so I am hopeful that those litter numbers will come up as we breed and, you know, go on in the future. So happy with how this is starting to progress here. This is what I needed to see. Aster's going to be a cull. She's just from day one. There's always been some issues, stretched kits, dead kits, some that were a bit eaten, but I suspect they were DOA and eaten. I don't totally hold that against her. She just always has issues, you know. Seems like we always have them born on wire at the front of the cage. You know, they're cold, they're chilled. We ended up losing her entire litter. And then Tippy, well, I'm not entirely sure what to do with Tippy yet, because she's been a great mom and she throws big litters, but this time around she only threw 3. So not quite sure with Tippy yet. Could be that she was open too long, maybe too fat. Maybe I give her another round, like breed her back pretty quickly and see. But I also think that's going to depend on, you know, some of the other decisions, because there's other does in the mix here. We've got Flory and Dandelion and Yarrow, and I'm going to take some time and look back through the breeding records and you know, just kind of jog my memory a bit. They're pretty good does. Flory, if I remember right, she's pretty much without incident. Yarrow's pretty good. Dandelion, I definitely had some issues last time. Might go back to that issue with the nest boxes that I've been talking about. So again, haven't entirely made decisions on those 3, but I will. But this is a good start with good information to go on, to use that for some solid management decisions. I do have to decide how quickly I want to pare down. So in other words, I'm not sure that I want to go full bore and just kind of kick out all the ones that are on my list, because I might want to leave myself a little bit of flexibility there. As I watch, say, like the champagne does come back, I don't want to just get rid of everybody that I know to be productive, but 2 of these definitely this round have shown us some things. Holly, because of age, she's been kind of showing signs of not quite keeping her body condition up either, so I feel like continuing to breed her is just more stress on her. Not really fair. Time to retire. Aster, for various reasons, all those various reasons that I mentioned. She's just had too many chances, not impressing me enough. So those are 2 definites. And then I'm going to work amongst the rest and make some decisions from there. I do also have this champagne doe coming up that I was planning on holding back, so she'll probably move into a cage here soon. These guys are 16 weeks. We are going to do a 16-week weigh-in to update and get those final numbers on them. So look for that, and we'll see how they came out at 16 weeks. Anybody that I keep past 16 weeks, I will continue to weigh to see, because they're not done growing. This is just 16 weeks is my mark for harvest. So not entirely sure what we're doing about that yet either, because there are a couple of people who have contacted me, and the bucks are good size and good potential. I'll take a good look at their bodies and confirmation. I'm not an expert at that because I'm not a show person, but I was trained, or at least schooled a little bit, by Alyssa at BHA Rabbitry. When I bought the doe, she did a great job of going over those things with me. I'm sure that's a learning curve for me, but this doe I've got my eye on to potentially keep as at least backup, and make some decisions about these others, see if there is interest in one or two of them from buyers, and again, go back and make those decisions over the next few months. Okay, final counts on this beautiful snowy day from this breeding. This is the breeding we did a little over a month ago. 5 does were bred. All 5 did kindle with varying levels of success. So here's the final tally. What we had was Peony delivered 7 and 5 were live. When I was cleaning out the hay in her nest, I may have mentioned this, I did find one that was half eaten in there. I'm going to assume that was probably DOA, and that she was eating it to clean the box, because I don't see any eating or aggression from her otherwise. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt on that. So she was 7 delivered, 5 live. Rose was 4 delivered and 4 live. Awesome for her. Tippy, not great numbers, 3 delivered but 3 live. Holly, the same, 3 delivered and 3 live. And then Aster had 8 delivered, 2 of which seemed kind of underformed to me, and we ended up losing every one of those from the litter between the cold, the warming, and they did not work out. So total was 25 delivered and only 15 live. Those aren't great numbers, but we have to consider that 8 of those were from Aster, who is a clear cull anyway. So not the most successful breeding, not making excuses for myself, but I am just going to throw out there that I'm kind of, if you're on these, like the Backyard Meat Rabbits forum on Facebook and some of those meat rabbit breeding groups, there's a lot of people saying issues with things like this. A lot of people speculating about their feed. Now, I haven't changed any feed. I've got, the Pool and Feeds, what I've been using for 5 years. I don't know. I don't know that I'm ready to blame it on that. I clearly have some management things that I've been open about, bred does that were open too long, that are bred, and older does. Again, Holly, I'm not taking anything away from Holly. It's just time to retire her. So no big shakes there. Tippy, I'm going to have to look back, and on her date, she actually may be reaching a retirement age too. Again, I have no complaints about her because she's been a great mom that threw me great litters. And if it's time for her to just retire, it's time for her to retire. And Aster's always been a problem. But the champagnes are coming along, and that honestly was my biggest goal. Knowing that some of these others were reaching retirement age anyway, and the champagnes are the breed that I would like to build up. So mixed feelings, but not entirely unhappy with this breeding. And my takeaway is I've got some good, clear decisions made for me regarding who should be culled and who shouldn't, and some promising outlooks for the champagnes. So that is this breeding in a wrap up. It's cold and it's snowy, but it's beautiful too, and my house is nice and toasty warm, and I'm here very spoiled in my attached barn. So I'm going to finish chores for the morning, get back at that, Thank you for being here. Like, share, subscribe. Really helps the channel. And come back again and we'll see what we've got for you next time.